I have some really interesting information about Japan and the way that Japan is handling the vaccines. They're handling it a lot differently than the way we're handling it here in the US. Let's talk about it. This is not about whether or not you should get the vax, or it's not about whether or not it works. It's not about any of those things, but it is about the way that it's being handled in Japan versus the United States. I actually first heard about Japan and the way that they're handling the vaccines from Dr. Sunil Dand, who has a YouTube channel. I'll put a link below. On the Japanese Ministry and Health website, I'm looking at my computer right now, 5 things stand out as major differences in the way that they're handling the vaccines compared to the United States. On this one area on the website, under consent to vaccination, just from this statement alone, it tells me 4 things. There are no vaccine mandates. They emphasize that the vaccine is your choice. They emphasize that those unvaccinated are not to be discriminated against. And they emphasize that the workplace or no one else should mandate that anyone get the vax. Let me read that section. I'll post it here. Although we encourage all citizens to receive the COVID-19 vaccination, it is not compulsory or mandatory. Vaccination will be given only with the consent of the person to be vaccinated after the information provided. Please get vaccinated of your own decision, understanding both the effectiveness in preventing infectious diseases and the risk of side effects. No vaccination will be given without consent. Please do not force anyone in your workplace or those around you to be vaccinated, and do not discriminate against those who have not been vaccinated. Another huge contrast in the way that they're handling the vaccines there versus here is that they acknowledge the possibility of vaccine injury, and they support anyone who has possibly been injured by the vaccine. So this is another form found on the Japanese website. It's instructions for the COVID-19 vaccination, where it talks about, various information about the COVID-19 vaccine, effectiveness of the vaccine and the administration method. Talks about people who cannot receive the vaccine, talks about people who need to be careful about getting the vaccine. And then here on page 2 of that form, it continues on. It talks about what to do after you receive the vaccine, possible side effects. And then this is the part that stands out about possible injury to the vaccine. It says about the relief system for injury to health with vaccinations. I circled it here on this form. Vaccinations may cause health problems, illness, or disability. Although this is extremely rare, the risk cannot be eliminated, and a relief system has been established for this reason. In the case of health damage as a result of the vaccine from the COVID-19 vaccine, relief, medical expenses, disability, pension benefits, etc., is also available under the Immunization Act. So it goes on to tell you what to do after that. Right? They're not trying to hide the fact that there can be injuries, people that can suffer injuries from the vaccine. They don't hide that, but they're open about it, and they have a system or a method by which they help those who have been injured by the vaccine. There's also this that's really interesting. Although Japan does not mandate the vax, they now have the highest vaccination rate among the G7 countries. And what are the G7 countries? They're the 7 countries, I read it something like this, they're the 7 countries that are the top tier in economic status. It's interesting, there's no mandates, but yet they now have the highest percentage of people being vaccinated. Now, I remember back in the summer, when the Summer Olympics took place, there were a lot of issues complaints about Japan that maybe they have low vax rates and there's a lot of vaccine hesitancy. Well, I'm not sure, but I think some people might have pulled out of the summer games because of this. Now things have taken a turn and Japan is leading in vaccination rates. Now, why is this? Of course, this is my own opinion. There's other, I read an article and, it talks about different reasons why they believe it to be happening. I believe, personally, there's this saying, and I don't know who the quote is by, but there's this quote that says, people don't care what you know until they know that you care. And when you look at Japan, they number one, they didn't seem to panic over the vaccines. I think that panic causes blame, right? Panic causes anger at those who aren't compliant, right? They don't seem to have that. They seem to have approached this thing in a very different way that we here in the US have. More calm, more open and truthful. And I think that's why the vaccination rates are higher. Now, there was something in an article that I read that one of the reasons that they believe that the vaccination rates are higher is because at one point, the vaccines didn't seem to be as available there. And so when they did become available, people just felt like, oh, I better get out and get mine before, they're all gone. Now, I don't know how true that is, but I personally believe that it's the way that the government in Japan has handled everything. I think that they didn't panic. And I think that they have not forced it on people, but instead they have been answering the questions in the best way they know how. And I think that helps. I think that is going to help people be more willing to do something than if you're trying to con them with prizes or coercing them to do something. And two, the vaccines aren't being politicized like they are here. In this area, I definitely say we need to take some lessons from Japan. What do you think? See you later.